I'm passionate about. So I appreciate a citizen stepping up and organizing events like this. I'm really humbled also to be running with a lot of great candidates. There's a great diversity of candidates that are running for District 5 Supervisor, which I think is a testament to the diversity in this district. And that is a diversity that I appreciate about San Francisco. I came to San Francisco because I'm a musician, and well, it's one of my gigs. I lived in Florida, where there's not a very good music scene, and I decided that I was going to move to Portland, Oregon. But I did a tour from San Francisco all the way up to Seattle, and I decided that San Francisco, the diversity in San Francisco is what I really liked, as opposed to Portland, Oregon, or Seattle. They're not as diverse city, and that diversity I think is important, and that's something we need to protect. And I think the District 5 Supervisor can do that. We can protect the diversity, the culture, and the history of this district. And we have a lot of history here. We have a lot of culture, and there's ways that the supervisor can protect that culture. And I would do that as a supervisor. I think actually talking to people, sometimes the issues of being a supervisor are not the most glamorous ones. And I really think if you look at the issue that affects everybody in the district, transit issues are some of the main issues. Issues like parking, issues like fixing the sidewalks, which really limits the mobility of disabled and elderly people to get around. I think doing simple things like Supervisor David Chu has a proposal to text drivers before towing their cars. That's a simple technological thing that we can do to make the transit experience better for people. And for someone who's on a fixed income or someone who's going month to month with their rent payment, if they get their car towed, that can be the difference between making their rent or not. So I think transit issues are huge, and I think improving Muni is something we have to look at. We have to figure out how to improve Muni to make it a viable transit option for people, so that we can get people out of their cars, that we can get people out walking and riding bikes. Because I work actually my career is in public health. I've been in public health for 20 years, and one of our worst public health problems today is diabetes and obesity, and that has a lot to do with the fact that we're sedentary, we're not moving around. And I think that's another great thing about San Francisco that I think we need to protect, is the fact that I was just actually away from the Bay Area this weekend. I came back into San Francisco, and I was just amazed about how many people are outside. And that's another thing we have to protect. And we have to do it by making our transit system work for everybody. Lastly, I agree with some of my other candidates about small businesses. Another thing that's unique about San Francisco is small businesses like this. I like Go-Getter's Pizza, which is over on Goff. That's been in the district for 20 years, family-owned business, and I agree. City Hall and the mayor seems to want to care more about these giant companies that come to San Francisco, but haven't been in the neighborhood, haven't been part of the community for years, and I think we have to do a better job at helping those small businesses. So streamlining the process of permitting. I think we can look at the tax burden on those small businesses, and we can look at other issues, including transit issues that affect those small businesses. So those would be three of my main issues. But lastly, I think one thing that I bring to the table are ideas. I like ideas. I like new ideas. If we're talking about history, for example, the Lower Fillmore area is a very historic area, and I think what we need to do is we need to rally around that history. I think the city needs to put its muscle behind museums. I think the Haight is another place that should have a museum. Tourists should be able to come to the Haight, and the city could be making revenue from having tourists come to the Haight and go to a museum and have the coalescence of our history, which is, the Haight is a very historic place. So just ideas like that, I think the supervisor could have a big influence on. Again, my name is Andrew Resignato. My nickname's Ellard, so you might see that I call myself Andrew Ellard Resignato sometimes, and I can tell you that story some other time. But again, I'm honored to run, and I hope you would consider me as the representative of your district, and I appreciate you for coming out tonight.